YouTube, welcome back to some more Higurashi. Last time, we did a time skip. We learned that Hanyu, after the Ritu debacle, pretty much just went around the world killing shit, and now she's like used up all her energy, so she's in Corporeal, or is it Corporeal? I don't know which one it is, but she a ghost. And now she's just chilling with her daughter, Oka, who doesn't know she's her daughter, I think. At least it hasn't said. And we saw like how they spent time. Well, we saw a little bit of like her when she was like younger, when she was still meeping and shit. And now she's I believe we're back when she's 20 and or 20 something and has a child and stuff. So let's just get into this. I reflected on my memories as I suddenly sat down on a stone in the garden and looked up at the sky. There wasn't a cloud to be found anywhere. Truly early summer weather. The lush trees rustled and swayed in a cool breeze. The sunlight shining down on the garden was so warm and comfortable that it almost made it seem like a waste that it would soon be the rainy season. Ever since that day, I had been staying at the Furude Shrine, living in the ritual storehouse. Yo, it's actually her house. A short distance away from the shrine. That's why she likes it. Before it's creepy, because that's before it had all the torture implements, right? It was dark and barren, but so long as I had old bedding, it was enough for me. Does she need a bed? I thought she ghost or something. Maybe I'm wrong. Also, sorry, my mic's a little louder than usual. There's the normal. I honestly didn't really want to go to the Furude house, especially not inside. There are so many happy memories in that place that I doubted I could spend time there in peace. For the time being, Oka had approved of me living in the ritual storehouse without asking many questions. Thus I had been staying there all the way up until today in total secrecy from the villagers. However, that's not to say I spent these 10 years peacefully. I hadn't forgotten to investigate the rumored Griffey's sightings and fulfill my duty. Okay, so she's still killing. So she's definitely not a ghost. But I think her powers are like running out or something. I swear they mentioned that. Or maybe she was just in corporeal form, ghost form. And Rika can, or Oka can just see it. I don't know. Maybe I'm misremembering. Griffey's activity had visibly decreased after I defeated that Putus, but they still caused disturbances in various places from time to time. There truly was no end in sight for any of it, but there were indeed lives and livelihoods that had been saved thanks to my actions. It was with that thought I continued fighting them and hunting down those disasters. I'd inform Oka every time I left, and go to see her right away when I returned. That was the one tradition I never neglected. Afterwards, I stayed for a while, talked with her, trained her in the sword, gave her advice on all sorts of topics. Even after Oka grew up, married the man she loved, and had a family, our routine had barely changed to this day. Fortunately, I hadn't had to leave in the last few years, so I met with Oka practically every day and spent my time in the village in relative peace. But still, to think Oka would end up marrying Shino's son! There you go. Fate's designs sure had a sense of humor. Come to think of it, there's something Shino said not too long after Oka was born. Damn. There you go. She called it. That means there's some Kimiyoshi blood in the Furude line. It's a little early, Shino. She's literally still in Hanyu's womb. Jumping the gun.
まだずっと先の話ですよ。
まったく気が早いというかなんというか。
That's what I'm saying.
文句ある
Uh,
ありません。
she do be kind of scary though. Back then, I was so sure she'd just been joking. Despite that, Shino kept her word. She let her younger son, Shoji, marry Oka and change his surname to Furude. Damn. That's based. The Furude family wouldn't die out. That was a sign of her own resolve to protect me and Riku's legacy. And that's the start of the husband taking the name, because I'm pretty sure like all the children have been daughters. So that means they've been constantly taking the daughter's name, or the wife's name.
ありがとう、シノ。
Oka gained a family thanks to Shino. Then she had her daughter Fuka and discovered the joy of being a mother. Unfortunately, neither Shoji nor Fuka could see me even when I was in physical form. Okay, so it's weird. Even in physical form, people can barely see her. Even so, just being able to talk to Oka like this was fun enough for me. And I was undeniably happy.
どうしたの？羽生？
Snooping. I turned toward that voice to find Oka sitting next to me and looking at my face. Her dark eyes were round and wide. Seeing those eyes somewhat resembled his, I felt my heart wrench a little.
何か考え事？急に黙り込んで。ええ、ちょっとね。
I mumbled as I looked away from Oka as naturally as possible. Even though it had been 10 years, I still couldn't look her in the eyes. There was a part of me that couldn't shake it off. I was always telling myself that I'd have to get over it someday, but...
ねえ、羽生。何ですか？本当にありがとうね。どうしたのですか？急に。剣術よ、剣術。
becoming a master
ず
swordsman.
いぶん無理を言って教えを請うてしまったからね。羽生も本当は乗り気ではなかったのでしょ？そうですね。あまり人に教えることには慣れていませんでしたから。
It happened one day, a while after I met Oka. I took a sword to get my body back into shape, and trained in the forest behind the shrine. Oka happened to be there picking firewood, so I showed her a sword dance on a whim, but she really liked that and bowed her head, asking me to teach her too. Damn. Back in the Nipa age, she was already ready to brawl.
いえ、ダメというわけではないのですが。お願いなのです。神社に泥棒が入らないように。僕も剣術を学んでおきたいのですよ。
I laugh, but that's actually serious, so true. It's good in this day, or that day and age, I should say. Honestly, I wasn't very enthused about the idea, but just as Oka said, there was no guarantee a thief wouldn't break into the shrine and hurt her.
私がそこに居合わせていたら、もちろん切り刻んでやるが。
But unfortunately, there were times where I wasn't in Onidafuchi village, so reluctantly I promised to teach Oka the bare minimum she needed to know to protect herself.
懐かしいですね。それにしても、王家があれほどに強く剣術を覚えたいと望むとは思わなかった
It's in
の
her
で、
blood.
正直ちょっと意外でした。そうね。剣術は神社を祀って祭事を取り仕切る神職には似合わないものだから、そう思われても当然だわ。それに最初はただの気まぐれだと思っていました。ですから 修練もきっと長くは続かないだろうと高をくくっていたのですが。それはあなたの見込み違いね。私はいい加減な気持ちで何かを欲し
It's a
がるよ
good
うにはし
mindset.
つけられていないの。そして教わるからには教わった相手にも恥ずかしくないくらいに極みを目指す。
Kinda
それが
Sigma,
私の心情
honestly.
よ。ですね。まったくあなたの一途さには驚かされます。
I smiled bitterly and shrugged. Did she get that strong will from Shino's parenting or Ritu's blood?
それに
It was completely unexpected. I never thought Ota would learn even the Turui Gaotia. It had been roughly 10 years since Ota started training in the ways of the sword. That was a long time for the relatively short-lived human, so it was no surprise she'd be so skilled. However, the Tururi Gaotia was essentially an an anti-Griffey sword technique, as well as the greatest skill I had developed after much diligence as a Jedha to defeat a Griffey's in a single strike. That just went to show how powerful it was. With it, even a woman could pierce steel, but the recoil and impact on the body's joints when it was unleashed were nothing to scoff at. Done poorly, not only would it hurt your muscles, it would also break your joints and bones. Truly a double-edged sword. The reason I was able to pull it off was because I trained my body in combat ever since I was little. And above all else, the natural genetic characteristics possessed by a Ryuin were a major factor.
だからこそ人間王家には習得は無理だと思っていたのだけど。
She's literally built different. But while Oka's Turio Gaotia was indeed rough and raw, her movements and posture were accurate. If she could do that much from simply imitating what she'd seen, then what I felt wasn't amazement or astonishment, but rather something akin to feeling threatened.
これもしか
A strength and flexibility that ordinary humans could not possess. Oka had certainly inherited that characteristic of Ryuin and Putus. How ironic. She can see me even though I should be invisible from the damage done to my physical structures. See, I wasn't crazy. And she has a talent for the sword beyond a natural. What? She has a talent for the sword beyond a natural. Okay, I thought it was like beyond a I thought there was more, but yeah, beyond a natural, like swordsman person. I guess it's a weird sentence. I'm also, yeah, not. I'm inebriated, so, but I don't think I'm messing up. The longer I spend time with Ota, the more I can't help but be reminded that she inherited my abominable inhuman blood. Though Ota herself hasn't realized it, nor has anyone else. If possible, I hope she can keep living peacefully, with that truth left unknown to everyone.
そういえば王家。何？今までははっきりとは聞いてきませんでしたが、なぜ王家は剣を習いたいと思ったのですか？
Didn't she literally say to keep bandits out? But she's probably gonna say because it looked cool or it looked beautiful or something.
理由？はい。以前あなたからは泥棒
Damn.
向けのためと聞きましたが、実
I
際のとこ
believed
ろ
her.
それがあなたの本心とは思えないのです。ですから私はその本当の理由は何なのかずっと今日まで考えてきました。
But I couldn't figure out the reason, no matter how hard I thought about it. The 10-year period where Shino raised Ota while I hunted Griffys is a complete blank to me. So I can't deny the possibility that there was some sort of trigger, some sort of influence in that time period that could have given her an interest in swordsmanship. But though I've tried observing Oka's words and actions in our infrequent encounters, she doesn't strike me as the type who seeks to pick fights. She's a little mischievous and speaks in a manner beyond her years, but she's actually quite spoiled. yet kind and gentle girl. She's actually a quite spoiled yet kind and gentle girl. Those aspects of her were much like Riku, and thus didn't translate into having a strong interest in swordsmanship.
それに
Her Ryuan blood aside, the reason she'd improved so much was likely the result of her training on a daily basis. She'd probably kept it up even when I wasn't around to teach her. She was diligent like that. In that case, just what was it that made her so diligent?
そうね実は
Just then, Ota turned to me with a serious expression.
剣の達人の巫女さんって何
Okay.
か素敵でしょ
Well, that wasn't exactly right, but based and true. Badass was definitely not a word back then, but I respect it. She's breaking time barriers. Ba 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 ba. Oh no, do they even do that song at the start? I don't remember. They probably do. It's the battle meme song. What she uttered was an unbelievably silly reason. I toppled right onto the ground and got up with a hysteric shout. But Ota paid my reaction no heed and helped me up, her eyes sparkling like precious gemstones as she gazed up at the very heavens.
だって考えてもみてよ
Alright, let me think.
白と赤の衣装は清純の証いわば裏若き乙女の代名詞ってやつでしょ
Sure, I guess that's a thing in Japan. Probably to the Miko outfits, yeah.
そして身を清め精神を鎮めて神に仕えることができるのは数ある女子の中でもほんの一握り
Alright, I'm still with you.
だからこそあまたの男子は神の名代を務めることのできる巫女さんに畏敬を抱き
Respect and yearn are very two different things, but okay, yeah.
そうでしょ
Sure, I don't know if they're yearning because they can act as God's representative, but yeah, okay.
あは
Let her cook, honestly.
そしてそんな男子の憧れたる巫女が白銀の剣を振るい
It's a cool
来る
image.
鬼どもをバッタバッタと切り倒していくの
We all do love some battle Mikos around here.
紅白の装束と黒い長髪が宙を舞い勇ましさと清らかさを併せ持つその姿はまさに女神すべての人を極楽浄土へと導く麗しき存在なの
The Pure Land.
ねそう思わないその
This is the Riku genetic.
正直そう思わなくもないとも言えなくもないと断言したくない
Aww.
今でも思い出すわ朝露が草場から滴り落ちる早朝しんと静まり返った林の中で羽生が見せてくれたあの剣の舞の華麗な姿を
Blushing.
あの時私は幼心に思ったの
There you go.
これこそ私の将来目指すべき巫女のあり方
Basically, it's your fault on you.
そう神に仕える乙女の最終形態なんだって見せたのではなくあなたが勝手に見たのでしょうが
Ultra completely ignored that utterly exasperated and unamused utterance from me as she went on and on. She was already off in her little own world. She was a wild horse who couldn't be stopped. Riku. Why? Oh, that's a good question. Why did you have to pass on those dumbass tastes of yours onto our daughter? My head hurt like it was going to burst. That does it, I swear, right here and now, that when my life comes to an end and I meet Riku again in the Pure Land, is that just heaven? Or is that what do they actually call it the Pure Land in Shinto? Let me look that up. Pure Land. Oh, Buddhism. What about but they're not Buddhists. Oh, it's a Japanese Pure Land philosophy. Pure Land Buddhist teachings have played a major role. There you go. It's like heaven, but for Buddhists. Japanese Buddhists, anyways. I thought, yeah, okay, there you go. I learned something new. I'll be sure to slut him a good one first before I rejoice at our reunion. Just then. Just joking?
なんてね、
Damn, actual memer.
嘘に決まっているでしょ。
You honestly got me there.
全部冗談よ。嘘、冗談？
Usuda? I was dumbfounded when I heard her. She was just kidding?
そうか。
How dare you goof me?
ごめんなさい。私の父様、こういう変なところがあったってシロさんが前に教えてくれたから。どう？雰囲気出ていた？悪趣味です。
I held my head in disgust. Seriously, what a sick joke. I have such a bone to pick with her father and the woman who raised her now. It's not Shino's fault. I don't think those are my genes at work. Probably. Still though, Ota is truly terrifying to just brazenly make a joke like that to a god like me. Despite all appearances, she's a bold girl. Come to think of it, Riku was like that too. He would goad me and tease me even though he knew all he'd get was a beating from me. Yeah, he liked it. In hindsight, that was probably him trying to be considerate of me. Try to be considerate by getting me used to everyday life, since I wasn't used to conversation. I dug up those annoying but fun memories as I heaved a small sigh. When she saw that, Ota rolled on the ground laughing. Ooh, the OG roller? Roll Toto wishes? Without the slightest hint of guilt.
仕方のない人ですね。
She really did love pranks. Perhaps you could see it in a sense as a cute personality that hadn't forgotten her childish spirit, but it wasn't fun to be on the receiving end of it. However, perhaps because she also inherited that from Riku, Oka had a mysterious aura that allowed me to forgive that. She would stir up trouble while always ending it on a good note. It was a positive trait.
ごめんなさい。でも、かっこいいと思ったのは本当よ。
There you
あな
go.
たの剣の腕、本当に素敵で、声をかけるのも忘れるくらいに、あの時は見とれてしまった。そうですか。それに、今思えば、とても子供っぽい理由なんだけど。
But Ota stopped laughing and talking. She stared off into the distance as if looking at something she couldn't reach. A gust of wind blew through the shrine grounds. The hot air, full of the characteristic stench of grass, caressed our skin as it blew past us. Just what was Ota looking at? I tried to figure that out, but Ota looked back at me before I could determine it.
本当は強くなりたかったの。え？自分や誰かの命を守る力という意味じゃなく、強い心を持つというか、自分を信じられる支えがね。そして父様と母様が命がけで守ったこの村のために、自分にも何かができるという自信と手応えを私は手に入れたかったの。自信と手応え？ええ。私の父様と母様のこと、すごく立派で尊敬に値する人だったって。村のみんなを守るために命を賭して鬼と戦って、そして 私、二人のことを本当に尊敬しているのよ。そうなんですか。
I gave an ambiguous response as I suppressed the mixed feelings in my chest. The story the story Oka had been told by everyone was a mix of lies and hidden truths. The reason I left the village and had to fight the demon wasn't to protect the village. It was all to protect Riku and Oka, as well as reclaim our peaceful lives. And Riku also. If she learned the truth, Oka would likely come to hate the villagers who'd driven her parents out. Then she'd question her own birth and possibly agonize over her own existence. I'm sure Shino and the villagers had that in mind when they hid the truth from her.
だから私も父様と母様と同じようにこの村を守ることのできる人間でありたいの。そして万が一この村で大変なことが起きた時にはそれに対応できるような力を手に入れておきたい。それが二人の子として生まれてフルでの家を継いだ私の務めなんじゃないかなってね。王か、それは。ええ、分かっているわ。おかしいよね。村の人たちが私に求めているのは本当はそんなことじゃない。この神社を守ってお社様を奉ってゆくことが私の本来の仕事。それなのに見好みで剣術なんてお母様に聞かれたらき
Probably.
っと怒られちゃうわね。
I just looked back at Oka's face, unable to give her a straightforward answer. She was smiling, but her eyes were staring off into space.
王家はご両親のことを覚えているのですか？ううん、実は全然。おぼろげどころか抱かれた感触も甘えた記憶もまるでないわ。でも
Oka spoke. She told me that the more she came to understand she was the daughter of the village's saviors, the more she respected their greatness, but also grew to feel inferior to them from time to time. The two of them were worshipped beyond reverence by the villagers, and so their daughter, and everything about their family, was the subject of everyone's adoration. And so, since it was a child's duty to bury and revere their parents, she protected the shrine where their tombs lay, and fulfilled her holy duty since she was a child. However, was that alone really enough? The more grateful she became of the villagers' kindness, the more she couldn't help but ask herself that question. Just what should I do to live up to the villagers' hopes? What can I do not to embarrass myself as the daughter of the village's idols? Of the village idols. And the conclusion she reached was to obtain the strength to exterminate demons and save the villagers just like her parents. I gripped my collar, desperately resisting the urge to hug her right then and there. The glimpse I got of loneliness Oka had felt, never knowing her parents, was so sad it broke my heart. To protect the village, and to achieve the strength to be respected in the same way her parents had, and to fulfill her duty. I realized she didn't just mean it as she said, but contained emotions even she herself wasn't aware of. Right. In there was a sense of anxiety she felt about her own existence. By learning swordsmanship, a symbol of strength, she wanted proof of her bond with us, that she truly was the daughter of the two the villagers respected and defied. Deified, not defied. Two very different meanings to that. Since her parents were so amazing, she probably believed she didn't have the right to call herself their daughter unless she was the same. They reminded so much of myself when I struggled with the meaning of my existence as a Ryuin, and devoted myself to my duty as a Jedha as a result. Painfully so.
そうだ。
I suddenly remembered something. Back when Ota had left the Kimiyoshi house and started living on her own, she said she wanted to protect her memories with her parents. Back then, I'd been deeply touched by what a kind girl she was, but now my heart bled for another reason. Oka was surely lonely, and as the successor of the Furude family, the symbol of the village, as the inheritor of the blood of the heroes who protected the village, the more she became aware of that, the more Ota desired to establish her own strength and personal meaning of existence, and awoke to her sense of self, so that everyone in Onidafuchi village would acknowledge her not as the Furude daughter, or the daughter of heroes, but as Ota Furude herself.
王か。
何？
ご両親の意志を引き継いで尊敬される姿に近づこうと努力することはとても素晴らしいと思います。でもあなたはあなたです。他の何者でもありません。だからあまり理想にとらわれすぎなくても別にいいのですよ。
Oka's eyes widened, and her smile faintly clouded over. Her eyes were full of confusion and bewilderment. That was literally the first time anyone had told her that, but I couldn't leave it unsaid. It looked to me that Ota idealized her parents so much that she was putting way too much pressure on herself.
理想にとらわれている。
ええ。王か。あなたは優しい人です。そしてとても真面目な人だと私は思います。ご両親の意志を継ぐために幼い頃から神社を一人で守ろうとしたり、厳しい稽古にも耐えてきたりしたその姿勢は誰にでもできることではありません。でもだからといってあなたがご両親のようになれるのかと問われれば、私はきっといいなと答えます。どれだけ努力してもあなたはご両親に近づくことはできても追いつくことは不可能です。
それは
No,
私には才能がないってこと？
not even close.
いいえ、違います。個性の問題です。あなたの今進んでいる道はご両親と同じ方角を向いていても同じ道ではない。そもそも育った環境や生まれ持った価値観が違うのですから当然のことでしょ。
Just as Ota was starting to look a little displeased, her eyes widened with a gasp. I continued when I saw that.
誰もあなたのご両親にはなれない。そして誰もあなたには決してなれない。それが個性というものです。故にフルで王家という存在はこの世界にたった一つしかありえない。
Unless another Ota comes from another timeline to visit, like the Higurashi Kira incident.
そう。あなただけがフルで王家なのですよ。王家、ご両親を尊敬し理想とするのも確かに素晴らしいことです。しかしそれと同一のものにはなれないし、またその必要もありません。あなたはフルデ家の跡取りでもなく、偉大だったご両親の娘でもなく、フルで王家としての生き方を今まで通り一生懸命貫いていけばいい。そしてそんな生き方こそがあなたのご両親が望んでいたことだと私は。
フルで王家の生き方。
そうです。あなた自身あまり気づいていないかもしれないからあえて言わせてもらいますが、たとえ 立派なご両親の意向があったとしても、あなた自身が取るに足りない村人たちの期待に背くような人間であれば、現在のように信望を得る存在ではなかったはずです。でもその度合いや加減は人それぞれの見解だとしても、あなたは今なお村
Basically,
人たちから一
you're
目置かれる
just
存在と
just
して
be
愛されている。
yourself. You know, it's good to follow in the footsteps of your parents, and you can still do that, but you don't have to force yourself. You know, and like Kanye's saying, you know, it's not just because she's born from the two that people are praising her. She obviously like her own accomplishments also adds to that, or like just being born from two heroes of the village probably wouldn't be enough for like such praise.
これは素晴らしいことではありませんか？
そんなこと。
Ota bashfully blushed and looked away. She probably didn't have much experience with being complimented this way. Seeing that simple and honest reaction out of her warmed my heart.
私はただ父様や母様に恥ずかしくないように、みんなの期待や希望に添えるようにって思っていただけだから。それに応えるだけで精一杯で、全然素晴らしくなんかない。それどころか、もっと優しくしておけばとか、気を利かして動いていればとか思って後悔することもすごく多いの。だからみんなが私のことを好意的に思ってくれていることが時々申し訳。
それが優しいということです。普通の人は後で悔やむことすらありませんから。そうやって常に反省しながら理想を追い求める、それが素晴らしいことだと私は思います。そしてどんなに周囲の期待に従った言動であったとしても、それを選択してきたのは間違いなくあなたの意志。
Free will, baby.
だからあなたは今までの自分を存分に誇ってもいいのですよ。
羽生。
Faint spats of tears welled in Oka's eyes as she ruminated on what I'd said, silently looking at her folded hands. In her face was a hint of relief, and
じゃあ私は今のままでいいのかな。
きっとあなたの優しさがいつかみんなの幸せのために役立てる日が来ると思います。それが何なのかはまだわかりませんが、その時のためにあなたはあなた自身の生き方や考え方に自信を持っておくことです。きっとそれがご両親の望みだと。誰が何と言おうとも私は信じています。
ありがとう、羽生。
Ota heaved a deep sigh and smiled. Though her smiles had always been beautiful, this smile had a refreshing shine to it, like the clear sky vanquished of all clouds.
本当に私はあなたと会えてよかったわ。いろんな人に優しくしてもらってきたけれど、こんな風に言ってくれる人今までいなかったもの。
そうか。
もちろん私も行けなかったんだけどね。みんなの理想に応えようとして無意識のうちに肩肘張っていたような気がするわ。だから変に気を使われて、私は間違いに気づく機会を失っていたのかもしれない。
Everyone was kind to Oka, and she was always trying to be kind to them. However, an environment like that didn't give her any opportunity to open her heart to anyone, or anyone to point out when she took a wrong turn. Deep down, she too wanted to confess her worries, get opinions about her own actions, no matter how trifling, and find peace of mind in the process. She constantly thought about how she wanted someone who would be honest with her, someone who would correct her mistakes and clear her doubts.
あなたは私にとっては本当に大切な人。まるでそう母様のようにね。
Spot on.
ありがとう羽生。私のそばにいてくれて。いえ。
Mother. What a joyful and sad word. Something warm welled from the depths of my heart and threatened to spill from the corners of my eyes. No, I can't cry. I don't have the right. Even so, a single word. Even though all I'd heard was a single word, it felt like it would cause my supposed heart of stone to crumble to pieces.
ねえ羽生。何ですか王家。
What the? Something touched my left hand. I looked to find it was Ota's right hand, covering me with a palm as warm as the sunlight.
これからも私と一緒にいてくれる？はい、もちろんです。
I placed my right hand on top of her own and firmly gripped it. I didn't want to let go of this happiness, so I held what was important to me. But at the same time, I was disgusted with myself for how utterly weak my heart and strength of will were.
何をやっているのだ、私は。
Just who was it who played dead and left their daughter behind in the village? For what purpose did I wish for my daughter to grow up healthy while I stepped aside and accepted everything about being a demon? Here Ota was, bearing her heart and soul to me, and I still couldn't confess the most important truth. So in spite of that, why was I doing something that would stir up havoc, just when everything seemed to be going perfectly in her life? My logic and conscience mercilessly tormented my foolishness. No matter how old I got, I was as insatiable as ever. Even though I was always afraid that might make things more miserable.
だけど、私は。
No matter what form it took. I wanted my life with my beloved daughter to never end. That was all I wanted. Hardest jinx of her life just occurred. Ba, ba. Alright, we're gonna end it here, boys, though. Very good heart to heart. We'll see. Sadly, we know bad things happen. Imagine if Hanyu didn't teach her swordsmanship. Would that whole finale thing happen? I don't know. Probably. Maybe. But yeah, let's hopefully continue the good vibes next time. See you later.